So in the previous session, let me once again restart the session. In the previous session, we had a discussion about the application and domain specific examples. In the application specific, we discussed about the washing machine. Then in the domain, it is about automotive device, that is car. Its execution units as well as the interconnection path. Then in today's session, we discuss about the hardware software co-design. So there is a design part of this hardware and softwares. So here it is a problem statement, the hardware software co-design, and it is solved by using the real life examples. Those are the selecting the model, selecting the architecture. In the architecture, we have various architectures, the control architecture, data path architecture, complex instruction set computing, and parallel processing architectures. Then we have how to design a software. So we have in the field, we have various languages. So here high level language, assembly level language, and machine level language. So which one we need to choose, select. Then comes the partitioning the system requirements into hardware and software. So these are the problem statements what we need to initially concentrate regarding hardware software co-design. So what is this selecting the model? Models are used for capturing and describing the system characteristics. So we are going to model the complete embedded system, the hardware or the software, for capturing and describing the characteristics. So a model is a formal system consisting of objects and composition rules. So it is going to consist of the objects which are going to represent the characteristics and the rules. Then it is hard to make a decision on which model should be followed in a particular system design. So while designing a particular system, it is a little bit harder to make a decision about selecting the model. Then comes the selecting the architecture. It is nothing but how the system will be implemented, the architecture, how the system can be manufactured. The architecture specifies how the system is going to implement in terms of numbers and types of different components and interconnection among them. So here nothing but as the name indicates, architecture. So how we need to implement this one means how we need to divide, differentiate. This is hardware, that is nothing but once again in the partition. It is a hardware part, it is a software part, and these are the contents of that hardware, how we need to interconnect them. Okay, it is a application specific or domain specific. So these are all the issues problem statements come under selecting the architecture. So here we have the various architectures. We may follow the controller architecture, which implements the finite state machine model. So here the finite state machine is nothing but the another graph, the flow graph, the data flow graph, which we are going to study in the next concept. So the state machine model using a state register and two combinational circuits. So the state register is going to hold the present state, and the combinational circuits implement the logic for next state and the output. Means the control architecture is made for controlling operations. So if it is obviously it is a controlling task what we are going to do with the embedded system. So here we may choose the control architecture. Then we may choose the data path architectures, which is best suited for implementing the data flow graph model. The data flow graph model, which represents the channel between input and output. So here we are going to represent this data path architecture through the data flow graph model, which contains registers, counters, register files, memories, and ports with high-speed arithmetic units, ALUs. The complex instruction set computing, obviously we had a discussion about this RISC and CISC in the previous session. So here we may choose a complex instruction set architecture, which uses an instruction set representing complex operations. So it is possible for CISC instruction set to perform a large complex operation using a single instruction. The use of this single complex instruction in place of multiple simple instructions, what we are going to observe in RISC, greatly reduces the program memory access and program memory size requirements. So we may design the architecture based on the computation methods, RISC or CISC. Then we may go for the architecture which works on parallel processing. Parallel processing with processing elements. It is going to use the concurrent operating multiple processing elements. PEs, we are going to name that one. Name those elements. Processing elements. And each processing element may associate a data path, means the flow of data in graphical approach, containing register and local memories. So here it has a single instruction, multiple data, and multiple instruction, multiple data architectures. It has the parallel processing is going to have the single instruction, multiple data, or multiple instruction, multiple data architectures. The single instruction, multiple data architecture, it is a single instruction is executed in parallel with the help of processing elements. On the other hand, the processing elements of the multiple instruction, multiple data architecture execute different instructions at a given point of time. So the SIMD, it is a single instruction executed parallelly by processing elements. The MIMD, it is going to use a different instruction in different point of time. Selecting the language, obviously it is a general discussion what we know about the languages. Obviously it is high level language, assembly level, and the machine level language. Obviously the machine level language, it is complex and not understood by the human being. Obviously the humans, the programmer, concentrate on high level language or the assembly level languages while designing the software part, or it may be a firmware. So a programming language captures a computational model and maps it into architecture. So there is no hard and fast rule to specify this language should be used for capturing this model. So while designing the software, there is no particular rule that we need to design this software by using this particular language. So it is interest of the designer. Okay, by comparing various languages, he may choose the suitable language for his design. So a model can be captured using multiple programming like languages like C or C++ or C#, Java, and so many languages we know for software implementation, and languages like VHDL, System C, Verilog, then comes the MATLAB language, and so many for hardware implementation. So it is about selecting the language. So what these are all the problem statements. Then we go for the next problem statement is about partitioning system requirements into hardware and software. From an implementation perspective, it may be possible to implement the system requirements in either hardware or software. So it is a tough decision making task to figure out which one to opt. So various hardware software trade-offs are used for making a decision on the hardware software partitioning. So this is about the hardware and software partitioning. So based on the system requirement, it is a little bit a confusing statement. So which part is used as a hardware, which part is going to be used as a software. Then comes the computational models in embedded design process. The computational models in embedded design are mainly the data flow graph, as we discussed in the problem statement of data path, the data flow graph model, or the state machine model, or the concurrent process model, or we may go for the option of sequential program models or the object-oriented models. So these are the computational or programming models what we have. So go for the models. The data flow graph or the data flow diagram model. The data flow graph model translates the data processing requirements into a data flow graph. So this model is used to translate the processing of data, how the data is processed through a graphical approach that is known as data flow graph. So how it is look like? You can observe the graph. This is known as DFG, the data flow graph. So it is a visual model in which the operation on the data is represented. We are going to call that one as a process. Operation on the data is nothing but a process. So it is represented using a circle, and data flow is represented using a arrow mark. So processing of the data or operating the data. So the process is represented in the graph as a circle, and the operation, it is mentioned within the circle, which operation the process it is doing, that circle is doing. Like you can observe here, there is a circle, it is nothing but a process, that is nothing but operation on the data. So what are the data we are observing? So this circle is operating two data which are coming as an input. So the flow coming as an input, nothing but what? The data are flowing. That flow is represented using a arrow mark, what we are going to observe in the graph, in the diagram. Okay, so the process done by each circle, it is mentioned within that circle itself. It is plus nothing but addition task, minus nothing but subtraction task. Okay, and flow is there through the arrow marks. Okay, then an inward arrow mark to the process, to the circle, is known as input. So what we are going to observe in this data flow node here, in the plus, the first one, here the two arrow marks are there, which are inwards towards the circle. Inward arrow mark to the circle, they are known as input to the circle or input to the process. Then the outward arrow mark, you can observe here the label of that arrow mark, it is X. So which is this arrow mark is nothing but which is coming out from this process, from this circle, and that arrow mark represent the output data. So depending upon the arrow, we're going to define the data is input or output with respect to this respective process, that is nothing but a circle. Okay, so if you go for the second process, that is second circle, here we are going to observe there are two arrow marks which are inward to this circle, that is X and C. If you observe this Y, it is coming out from that circle. That is nothing but output data from this process. So if we look at this statement, obviously we can explain what this model is performing. This data flow graph, it is chosen to perform one of the computing tasks. What is that computing task? The computing task are, there are two. One is X is equal to A plus B, X equals to A plus B, and Y equals to X minus C. So this one is the problem statement. This is the computational requirement for a particular embedded system what we want to design. So how to observe this process, the working phenomena through a graphical approach, it is the data flow graph model. Okay, so here we can observe the same thing. It is X equal to A plus B. So A plus B is the process. So we are going to put that one in as a circle. So A plus B is a process. It is nothing but a first circle. Then what are the input data for this circle? It is A and B. Then what the process is going to do? It is going to perform addition of A plus B, and it is going to generate the output. This process is going to generate the output according to this mathematical equation. X is the output. So we are going to represent that one as the outward arrow mark from that circle. That is X label. Okay, so X is at this point, this output arrow mark, it is representing X equal to A plus B. Then the second process we need to perform, that is nothing but Y is equal to X minus C. So what we are going to use these X and C as input data to this another process, that is subtraction process. Subtraction process, that is another circle. So it is labeled, what is the task it is done by? It is minus. Then what is the output from this circle? The output is nothing but data Y. This data Y is the represented as the outward arrow mark. Outward arrow mark. So this one is a simple model what we are going to prefer for processing the data with the data processing units, that is nothing but circles, and data flow elements, those are nothing but arrows. Okay. The next one is a control data flow graph. So it is a simple application what we have discussed, a simple processing method. Simple processing element. So there is no condition here. The data is simply calculated. So the first circle is going to perform what? Without any condition, without any rules and regulation, without any protocol, they are simply performing. When the data A and B is there, arrived, similarly, the output from this node 1, it is X equal to A plus B. When X is there, when C is there, this data flow model process is going to perform Y is equal to X minus C without any condition. If we apply the conditions, then comes, it is the flow graph. It is represented for such cases, it is going to be known as control data flow graph, control data flow diagram, CDFD. So what these are used for? These are used for modeling applications involving conditional program executions where we need a condition. So it contains both data operations and control operations. So data operation is that data processing elements, that is circles, and the arrow marks for data flow. And not only those two, it is having some more elements. Those are control operating elements. So here the data flow graph used as element and conditions constructs as decision makers. So based on the condition, we are going to operate. So here is the diagram what you are observing on the screen. So it is an example of this control data flow graph. Control data flow graph. Obviously, we are going to use the data flow graph only with the circles and arrow marks. plus extra element, that is control operation. You can observe this diamond. So here the example it is, I want to perform same task, x equal to a plus b and y equal to a minus b over some conditions. So what are those conditions? So we are going to use one condition there. If the flag is one of the variable or the controlling node, if flag is 1, then the system has to perform x equal to a plus b. Otherwise, it has to perform y is equal to a minus b. So how we are going to represent this problem requirement? Through graphical approach. So with the help of a control data flow graph, we can achieve this problem statement. So solution for this problem statement is by using the data flow graph plus the control operations. So here is the graph. The symbol is used, the diamond is used for performing the control operations. So here the data is coming. So whether it is going to check flag is 1 or not. Flag is 1 or not. If it is true or false, the condition is going to give the two answers. It is true or false. So if it is true, what we need to do? We need to perform the process of x equal to a plus b. So this, the first circle, what you are going to observe here, the first circle, the addition circle and subtraction circle. Let me go for this one. The data flow nodes. Let me say it is a circle 2 and circle 1. So this circle 1, that is nothing but additional task. It is done with what? 2 input data. What are those? A plus b, a and b. And what is the operation? It is here it is plus. And what is the output? It is purely x value. It is purely x it is. Okay. So x is the answer from this first node. So once the process is over, it is going to move towards end of this processing, end of the process. If this condition fails, means flag is not equal to 1, then the fail statement will be executed through this arrow mark. So this arrow mark is representing what is the processing to be done. Okay, what is the process? Once again, it is with what? A minus b. So the same a and b data are used for this circle also for subtraction operation. And what is the output? The output is y. The output from this one is y. And after the processing of y equal to a minus b, the output is going to, the process is going to end here. So this one is the simple, the graphical approach, the graphical model for conditional operations. If a flag, one of the example is, if a flag equal to 1, x equal to a plus b, else y is equal to a minus b. So this graphic control data flow graph is going to use the data flow graph, the previous concept, plus one extra element, that is conditional elements. Okay. So this requirement contains a decision-making process, the conditional test, and it is shown as in the graph. Then comes the state machine model. So one is the model is about computing process. Okay, the programming models. These are all programming models. So to program which model we need to choose, how to represent that work, and which one is easier. It is a data flow for simple operations. Let me say it is without any conditions. Simply it is flowing. Then we can refer this data flow graph. Otherwise, for conditions, we are going to use control data flow graph. Not only these are the basics, introduction part. Then comes, we have another model, it is known as state machine model. What is the state machine model? The state machine model describes the system behavior. It is not only like it is a processing and it is simply giving the output, generating the outputs, receiving the input, process it and generate the output. It is not like that. The system is not designed to perform that task. Receive the input, process and send it. Simple task. No, it is designed for other aspects. It has to meet the demand of users. Okay, user specific, application specific, domain specifications must be met by these models. So we are going to refer another model, that is state machine model, which is going to describe the system behavior, the state, event, action, and what is the flow. That is nothing but transition. So what are these things? What is the event? If I go for the simple computer, we're going to interconnect so many small embedded systems like mouse, like headset, like screen, desktop, keypad, okay, some interfaces like Bluetooth, and so many Wi-Fi. So many embedded systems, small embedded systems, distributed embedded systems are collected to make one large system. So there we need to concentrate on each and individual system state, in which state it is, and what is the event. When I click a mouse button, obviously it is the event from the mouse side. So event is occurred from which device it is? From mouse. And what is the state it is? In which state it is? State nothing but what? The mouse button is pressed or not? It is pressed or holding. Okay. There are so many states we are going to observe with respect to a simple button itself. If I go for the keypad, we may have varieties of states. It is pressed. Pressing is one state. Holding is one state. Releasing one state. Releasing that button itself is one state. Then action. What action when the machine, the system has to be performed? What action? Or if I press the right click of the mouse, what action to be considered? Then after the action, what is the transition? How you are going to deliver those actions? That is nothing but transitions. So all these things are incorporated in this model, that is state machine model. So state is a representation of the current situation. What is the current situation of the system? Then comes event. What is this event? It is the input to the state. So state is going to receive that data. So that data is known as event. Then the transition is the movement from one state to another state. So the state represents what is the situation. Then if you want to change the situation, means we need to move from one state to another state, we need to use the transitions. We're going to call that movement as transition. And when the transition is going to happen? When the event is occurred to that state. Event is occurred to that state. Then the last one is known as action. So it is an activity to be performed by the machine. That is state machine. So what action it has to take? It has to perform. So these are the concepts what we are going to incorporate in state machine model. So as I said in the previous data path, that is control architecture, we are going to concentrate on this state machine, the most using model. So here one of the example we are going to consider is finite state machine model. So once again in the state machine we have varieties of models, but in this syllabus we are going to discuss about only one, that is finite state machine model. FSM model we are going to call it as. It has the number of states are finite. So here we are going to mention the states. What is the current situation? So we are going to divide the various situations into number of states. Various situations, nothing but right click or the press, what I said about the button, keypad button. Button is holding one situation. It is one state. Button is released. Button is released. Holding is one state, releasing one state, pressing is one state. Okay, And nowadays it is a touch screen. So touching is one state, whether it is touched or not. Not pressing. Pressing is one state. Holding. The user is going to hold that button for a small amount of time. So that process is not, that situation is known as state. We're going to consider that as a state. And what event it is occurred. Okay, which event is occurred? Nothing but pressing a button. So it is nothing but an event in the keypad. Then transition. So how it is moving from one state to another state. When I press a button, if I go for a simple example, in the keypad, if I press a button, how many states are there? There are 3 states we are going to observe, or only 2 states. More obviously, it is more than one state. Button press, it is not only button press event. Only one state it is having. Minimum 2. What are those? It has the button press state. Another one is button release state. Button release state. If the button is pressed for a while, what is the condition? How many states we are going to observe in that pressing a button operation? One is button press, second one is button holding, third one is the button released. After some time, if a user is going to remove his finger from that button, obviously that event, that situation of that button is known as state. Okay, so here for a particular operation, we are going to find a finite set of states, finite set of situations. So those are designed with the help of, explained with the help of this FSM model, finite state machine model. So here the introduction and interesting concept example. So as I told, it is only a button I explained here. Keypad alli on the button press ಮಾಡುವಂತ process here. I'm going to press and I'm going to release my finger from that button. So how many states we are going to observe with respect to that button? It is button press, button hold, and button release. Okay, with respect to a button. Now, if I go for a little bit complex example, this one is a simple example what I had discussed, the state machine. If I go for means how we are going to draw these things, how we are going to look at these problem statements, the computing processes, the programming concepts, how we look at. So here, one of the examples they are going to explain about the seat belt warning in a automotive vehicles. Automotive vehicles. Because of this example, in the previous class, I asked for you, how many of you using 4-wheeler at your home? So few members told that yes, they have car at their home, or they are familiar with the car. So here they know better about this example, the seat belt warning process. Seat belt warning process, and you just concentrate on this example because this example is going to be continued for all the remaining models. It is a state machine model. Then comes another one, concurrent processing model. There, how we are going to, then comes it is object-oriented model. Object-oriented model. So how you are going to deal with these things, these processes, same task, how it is implemented. Means in a car, we want to implement one alarm system, one alarm warning system. So it is used for what? Only one object, that is seat belt. So how we are going to write, or we need to design a hardware and a software. How we need to design a hardware and a software for that task, for that requirement, seat belt warning system. So in this example, they are going to discuss about the seat belt warning system in an automotive using the FSM model, using this final state machine, means what are the states we are going to observe? States nothing but what are the situations we are going to observe in the seat belt warning. So they are going to explain with two requirements. Simply they are explaining the seat belt warning design of seat belt warning system using only two requirements. What are the two requirements? Here the first requirement is, I ask you guys, those who are you using car, let me ask only one question. Are you familiar with this seat belt warning system? Anyone? Those who are familiar with this one, they can explain. Anyone? Because before going to that one, let me know how much you are familiar with that process. Because of this complex example, I told about a simple example, that is button. So with respect to keypad button, how many states, how we need to look at that problem with the three states. One is the button press, button hold, and button release. So similarly, if I look at this simple seat belt warning system, so anyone, those who are familiar with the car, they can discuss. Anyone can discuss. It's not like that I have to go on explaining and you guys simply sitting and observing the things. Let us have an interaction. Anyone about a seatbelt warning system? So based on this, obviously I'm going to explain this one. After explaining this concept, I'm going to give a task. I'm going to release one Google form. There you need to choose one task and design that state machine. Design that state machine. So it may have, the simple example is nothing but what I said, the cooker itself, the pressure cooker for cooking purpose, what we are going to use in the kitchen, how we need to implement that hardware and software. The basic model, that is nothing but FSM model, using that FSM model with the FSM model for that process. How many whistles for which rice, which type of rice? Anyone? Have interaction. Whatever you know about the seat belt concept. Anyone?
Sir, within some stipulated time when the passengers are seated and even the driver is seated, if there will be a buckle, sir, on the left
Okay.
side of the seat, and there will be certain sensors, and if we don't do it in certain time which is specified in the system, it will start giving weird alarm sound, sir, like seat
Okay.
belts. And after locking the system, it will stop. Similarly, when doors are not closed, no, sir. For
No,
an
no, I
auto.
want only seat belt.
Okay, sir. This is it.
Okay, because it is a car embedded. Car itself is a huge, large embedded system. So the example is going to talk about only seat belt warning system. Okay, once again we have so many sensors. Okay, so the sensor, the input device, what we are going to discuss about it is means how to think, how to model that one, that warning system. So as you told, so here once the passenger is going to sit on the seat within a car, once the car is ignited, what is going to happen? It is going to check all the sensors. The car embedded system is going to check all the sensors, and it is going to take its own decision based on sensor data, isn't it? Based on sensor data. So here we are talking about the sensor which is kept for seat belt, whether it is seat belt is locked or unlocked. Okay, whether it is used, it is locked or unlocked. So how it is monitored? By using that sensor. So what is the, after sensing the data, what is the process the system is going to do? After the sensing the data, it may be yes or no, lock or unlock. Okay, seat belt is locked or unlocked. Passenger is using that one or not. So that is based on the data what it is going to sense. The sense is yes or no, only two conditions, lock or unlock. So based on these two data, if it is yes, there is no issue, isn't it? So it is going to follow the protocol of that transportation rules in the society. The transportation rules in the society is what? The user in the car, the seat belt must be used. It will be tied. It will be locked. So what will be the thing if it is unlocked? The user, the passenger is not using that seat belt. Then obviously the warning system will be introduced automatically. Warning system, how it is? It is going to wait for a small amount of time, small amount of second, small amount of duration. Then it is going to warn through alarm. Okay, through alarm. So that is nothing but what? Sense the data, process it, and send the output. Output is nothing but the speaker is going to get sound. Okay. So this is a simple process, how we are going to design, how we need to model it by using FSM, we are going to discuss here. So the simple task what they are going to give it is, the requirement is when I need this requirement for next two models, keep it in mind. ಇದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ತಲೆಗೆ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೋಬೇಕ್ರಿ. ಇದು ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರು ಸರ್ ಸೀಟ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೆಂಗಿದೆ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ದ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಹೊತ್ನಾಗ ದೇ ಪುಟ್ ದಿ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ವೆನ್ ದ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ಇಗ್ನಿಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಟರ್ನ್ ಆನ್, ಇಗ್ನೈಟೆಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಾನು. ವೆನ್ ದ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ಇಗ್ನಿಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಟರ್ನ್ ಆನ್, ದ ಸೀಟ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ fastened. It is not fastened. Let me tell you, if it is fastened, there is no problem. If it is fastened, it is locked, then there is no problem because the customer or the passenger is following the rules of the transportation department. Okay. So if it is not fastened, within 10 seconds after the ignition, the timer is going to start. After the ignition, timer is going to start, and the timer is built for what? Waiting for 10 seconds. If the 10 second, after 10 second delay, within that 10 second, if seat belt is not fastened, the system generates an alarm signal for 5 seconds. Means up to 5 seconds, continuous alarm is going to be there in the speaker. What is the first requirement? When car is on, when ignition is on, turned on, the seat belt is not fastened, within 10 seconds, the alarm should happen for 5 seconds. So this is the first requirement. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನ್ರಿ, ಕಾರ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಕಾರ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣನೇ 10 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ನಾನು ಸೀಟ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕೋಬೇಕು. ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ within 10 seconds, what is the time duration for sensing the data of whether it is fastened or not? The 10 second delay. So 10 seconds, if it is not happened, there is no fastening of that seat belt within 10 seconds, obviously there must be alarm signal. Alarm signal for what duration? 5 seconds continuous alarm should happen. This is first requirement. Second one, when the alarm should off. One requirement is already there, that is 5 seconds, means wait for 5 seconds and make the alarm off. Make the alarm off. Clear? Or another situation may come. It is not only that wait for 5 seconds and make the alarm off. Another situation may come immediately if I turned off the ignition. If I turned off the ignition. So that time also alarm should off. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಕಾರ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಸೀಟ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, 10 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. 10 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಕಾರ್ ಆನ್ ಇದೆ, 10 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಸೀಟ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕ್ 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಲಾರಾಮ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಅಲಾರಾಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಯಾವಾಗ, 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ದಿದ್ರೆ ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ 10 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆದ ಕೂಡ ಅಲಾರಾಮ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲಾರಾಮ್ ಕೇಳಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಾ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಕಾರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಕಾರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ಅಲಾರಾಮ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಫ್. ಸೊ ಅಲಾರಾಮ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಬಿ ಆಫ್. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ನಾ ಸೀಟ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡೆ, 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒಳಗಡೆನೆ ಒಂದೇ ಅಲಾರಾಮ್ ಕೇಳಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಾನು ಸೀಟ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಅಲಾರಾಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಅಲಾರಾಮ್ ಈಸ್ ಟರ್ನ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್. Alarm is turned off when the alarm time, that is 5 seconds, expires, or if the driver or a passenger fastens the seat belt, or the ignition switch is turned off. Ignition switch is turned off ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲಾರಾಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಮಂಗ್ 3 situations. What are the situations? One is alarm is expiring. Alarm is expiring, that is 5 seconds is over, or the seat belt is fastened, or the ignition is off. ಇವು ಮೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲಾರಾಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ 2 requirements about seat belt warning system. Hope you got the concept. What is the concept? What is the requirement? Meghna? Meghna, got the concept? What is the requirement about seat belt warning system? Let me explain you once again. When I ignite the car, okay, when ignition is on, if seat belt is not fastened, within 10 seconds, next 5 seconds, continuous alarm must happen. A warning must happen. This is first requirement. Second requirement is what? Alarm must off if any one event occurs first. Any one event among 3. What are the 3 events? If alarm is there for 5 seconds, time expiry, 5 seconds ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಆಫ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೋ. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಸೀಟ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫಾಸ್ಟನ್, 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸೀಟ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅಲಾರಾಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್? ಇಫ್ ignition is off, if car is off, then obviously the alarm must be off. Is it clear, Meghna? Kaveshri? Is it clear, Tejashwini? Chaitranjali, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Bhumika, because I am concentrating on this example, because I am concentrating on this problem statement, because I am going to use this one for next concept also, which is complex. In the same now nodo riti bere agutte, because as the implementation is going on, object oriented object na touch madinandre I need to concentrate only on that object. Okay, so ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ The process is simple, but it is complex, the system what we are going to observe. So based on this idea, whatever the task I am going to give you regarding this FSM model, so you need to observe that one. What is the task is given? Understand the task first. Then you are capable to design. You are capable to design the model. Okay, you have to understand. So how many states are there? How many events will come? How many transition will happen? What are the actions we need to take in the respective state? So those things you must be capable to recognize, identify the things in the given requirement. Okay, so let me go for this problem statement for seat belt warning system. When the vehicle ignition is on, if the seat belt is not fastened, within 10 seconds, the system generates alarm signal for 5 seconds. Alarm signal for 5 seconds. Then the alarm is turned off if any one event occurs first. The first event is the alarm time expires, or the driver or a passenger fastens the belt, or the ignition of the car is off. Which one comes first? Alarm is going to off. Now, go for the design of this example. Here, the states are 3 states. One is alarm off, wait for the time, then comes alarm on. When I need to make alarm on, when I need to make alarm off, and waiting. These are the states, situations of that seat belt warning example. Situations, nothing but states. And what are the events are going to come? Events, event, ignition on ide, ignition off ide. Time expire agide, time is running. Alarm time is expired. Alarm time is not expired. Seat belt on, seat belt off. These are the events. These are the events we are going to call. So based on these events, one event agate obviously. In physically, yes, we are going to consider that as the event itself. Okay. So the event is going to happen. So what are the events we are going to identify in this example are the ignition key on, ignition key off, timer expire, alarm time expire, and seat belt on. So here one is warning system, another one is alarm system. So here this seat belt warning is having 2 separate systems. One is seat belt warning, another one is the alarm, the timer. Okay, now go for this one. When we are going to observe a transition, now I am talking about a transition moving from one state to another state, from alarm off state to waiting state. Obviously, when the car is in the off state, alarm is in the off state. When I ignite the key on, when the event occurs, the state machine, it is going to take the transition from one state to another state. What we are observing with the arrow mark, the transition, which is moving from one state to another state when the event is occurred. So which event is occurred? Ignition key is on. It is moving from alarm off to waiting. Waiting nothing but what? It has to wait for 10 seconds if the seat belt is locked or unlocked. Then another transition is going to happen between wait state to alarm off state. What is that state? When the event occurs, the ignition key is off. When the car is off, obviously it has to immediately come out from wait any condition, any state, to any situation to alarm off. Okay, ignition key off ಆದರೆ alarm off ಆಗುತ್ತೆ on if the seat belt event is on. Seat belt ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ alarm off ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So means we are talking about alarm off now. Alarm on ಆಗದೆ ಯಾವಾಗ? When ignition is on. Alarm when it is going to off, seat belt is on, otherwise ignition is off. Another condition comes. There are three situations when the alarm is going to be off. Seat belt on, ignition off, or the alarm time expires. So that comes in the next state. and it is going to move from waiting state to timer expiry state. So after waiting state, alarm is going to be on. When the alarm is going to on, when the waiting period of 10 seconds, the waiting period of 10 seconds is going to over, that the state is moving from waiting state to alarm on state. Means alarm is on now. Alarm on agutte when the condition is met. Seat belt is not fastened and timer is completed 10 seconds. So alarm is on. Then here the alarm state to on state to off state is going to happen among these three cases. One is alarm time expires, that is nothing but completion of 5 seconds, or the ignition key is off, the car is off. Otherwise, if within that 5 seconds the seat belt is on. Which one comes first? Immediately the state is going to move from alarm on to alarm off. So this one is the simple FSM model for seat belt warning machine warning system. Here it has two models. It is about alarm off, and another one is timer. So what is that timer? So here you can observe the timer. So timer is idle, timer is on, waiting state. Nothing but timer is on, and it has to generate the timing events. The events are what? 10 seconds is over, 5 seconds is over, these two. Okay, 10 seconds and 5 seconds. So 10 seconds is for what? Waiting period. And 5 seconds is for what? Waiting period for alarm on. Okay, so how it's going to have the state and what are this FSM model for timer? Another event, another model. The timer. Here it is the timer is idle. It is going to, and it has three states. One is idle state, one is the ready state, another one is running state. So here it is moving from idle state to ready state. How? The timer is going to initiate it. When the timer is initiated, for the first time it is when the ignition is on, it is going to timer count the action. What it is going to do? The timer count. It is added with new count. New count nothing but what? 10 seconds. So 10 seconds is added in the timer count. Then it is ready now. When it is ready, then it is going to move from when the timer is started, and it is going to move from ready state to running state. Nothing but once the data is loaded, when the timer count is loaded in the timer count, immediately it is going to move from ready state to running state. Okay, start the timer and decrement the count. 10 seconds, 9 seconds remaining. Okay, once it is over, the timer is expired. It is going to move from running state to ideal state. Running state to ideal state. So stop the timer or timer expire. It may be 10 seconds or 5 seconds, depend upon the event. Which event is occurring? Initial event, that is 10 seconds, or after that 10 seconds, seat belt condition, checking the condition, that is alarm time. It is purely using this timer model. Okay, so timer is going to have three states: ideal, and it is ideal state. It will move from ideal to ready, and it is initiated. Once the initiation is over, immediately it is going to move from ready state to running state. Then it is going to run for its time expiry up to the time expiry. Once the time is expired, immediately it is moved from running state to ideal by generating the events. So each transition is going to do what? Generating the events. So what is the event? The timer expired event, which will be used by what? The timer expired event. It is used by what? Here it is the seat belt alarm off event. Alarm off situation. Okay, waiting to alarm for first 10 seconds. Then alarm on to alarm off 5 seconds. Or seat belt on, or the ignition key is off. So these are all the design model how we are going to look at for the given requirement, for the given problem statement. So this one is about the example of seat belt warning system using FSM model, where the FSM model is going to use the state, event, transition, and action. So by having this example, so I'm going to give you some other problem statements with day-to-day life, what we are familiar with. Okay, so that one will be the assignment what I'm going to give you. So today we are going to end this session. In the next session, we discuss about another model.